Hi everyone, and welcome to my console speedrun strategy guide for Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. In the last episode, we took care of the airboat skip, and we are now at the beach, which has the biggest skip in the complete game, in the full game. I'm really excited about it. I'm gonna start this off with a warning. The skip we're gonna do is called Lara Skywalker, and when I tried it the first time, it took me 12 hours of consecutive trying with no break to get it. So don't get discouraged if you can't get it in the first few hours. It's extremely hard, but if you can get it, it saves at least 25 to 35 minutes of runtime. And in in-game time, like if you would normally do this, it saves over 2 hours. It's insane. We're basically skipping we're skipping a complete equipment part, which is the rope ascender. We're skipping a complete area of the game. It's a real sequence break. So when you're here, you want to jump over here, and you want to make your way down there. Since you're not going to get it the first time, it doesn't matter, but if you're confident enough, you should always go for it this time. Want to jump down here, and this is where things get tricky. I'm gonna fuck it up several times here, just to show you several things. This ledge is where the out of bounds starts. And you want to jump down there as close to this ledge as possible, so you start sliding. When you're around this part, you want to input a jump to the right. And then you want to angle your camera down, so you see the ground. You're gonna see a specific patch of land on the texture of this mountain. When you are close to this texture, you want to initiate a skywalk by pushing back and forth on your analog stick, left analog stick. And this is the first part I want you to train. Just stand here, nudge a little bit forward, and then jump and initiate the skywalk here. This part here is where you want to initiate the skywalk. And this is the first thing I want you to train. Now, skywalking, we never had any troubles with skywalking so far because it was relatively easy. However, we need to gain a lot of height during this, because we want to get on top of that shit. We're gonna do this by backpedaling. You can see her motion. Backpedaling is when we are facing the area we want to climb with our back. For the most part of this skywalk, we're gonna push forward left on the left analog stick. And we're gonna steer mostly with our camera. When I say forward and left, you have to imagine a clock, and it's between 10 and 11. So that's all I'm doing right now, and I'm trying to climb this ledge here, this slope here. On top of this slope, we can't go straight ahead, but we can go left around this. Depending on your position and Lara's geometry, there are certain, I like to call them, I've never heard any other runners call it this way, so you might get confused. I call it hot air pockets. Those are invisible areas in this out of bounds that you are allowed to climb and that are very easy to climb to give you a little bit of height. However, there are also the opposite of those hot air pockets, which push you down. After this small part here, you have the chance of encountering both. What you encounter depends on the route you're gonna take. This is really confusing, so let me try to backpedal around this and get over here. So now you saw me falling down. So I need to use the backup strat. I'm just constantly changing directions from forward left to forward right. I'm trying to backpedal up here. You can see her character model disappearing. This is not a bad thing. The real problem with this out of bounds is that nothing is real. There are so many holes in this texture pack that you can easily fall through. After you get Lara Skywalker for the first time, you should consider putting in around 6 to 8 hours of consistently failing this out of bounds on purpose, because you need to memorize all the holes in this out of bounds, and you need to start memorizing all the hot air pockets that can rescue you. For example, let me just angle my camera around the middle of the screen, a little bit to the right, where there's still the mountain. There is a hole which you can fall through, which makes you restart the checkpoint. But if you get a little bit to the left of it, there is a hot air pocket, which gives you back your character model and can save you from falling down. So you can still make it. This is the backup strat. You want to get up here, and you want to make your way over the slope. Be careful not to go too far to the left or to the right. And around here, you want to not fall into this hole. But this is the perfect example of the first hole. If I would have just gone a little bit to the left and gone over the edge of the mountain, of the slope, I would have gotten the hot air pocket. It's incredibly hard to describe, so the only thing I can give you is try to practice this as much as possible. So this time I got the hot air pocket. The hot air pocket means I can wiggle a little bit here. You don't want to get too high up, because it's also a hole there. Want to get to the left and then make your way over to the right. Want to come over here, and as soon as you're here, you want to angle your camera there and start crossing this gap. You want to follow the line of the mountains on the right, and as soon as you're here, this is by far the hardest part. If you made it here, it's gonna get 10 times more complicated than anything you've done before. This is the setup I use. As soon as I see the line on the right, like the corner, the edge of the texture of this mountain, I try to get up a little bit higher than normally. Then I press forward, and when I see the texture of this mountain ending, I'm gonna turn right. I'm gonna input a right turn on my camera analog stick, and I'm gonna input forward right on my left analog stick. And as soon as I'm around the corner, I'm reversing all this. Like, I'm turning my camera to the left, and I'm turning my left analog stick to forward and left, and try to get around this mountain in a sort of half circle motion. Now, this setup is not precisely enough to work every time, especially since I needed to pause. But it's as close a guideline I can give you. When I started, I didn't have any guidelines. I had to watch the then world record run of the PC around 100 times to figure out the route and figure out all the holes for myself. So I'm really trying to give you as much help I can give you right now. But it's all about experience in this part. The real problem is that her character model starts to disappear after a while. So you have to all do it by muscle memory. So again, I'm going a little bit up on the sledge, forward, and then right, and then left, and then go up here and try to land on this beam. And then immediately aim down sight. Immediately. If you... We want to get down here, and as you can see, it's not loaded. I'm gonna tell you right away, if you fall down here, you're busted. You have to reload this checkpoint. But I don't know if I can get it. It's possible that you don't land on here, but on this part. And yeah, It's hard to jump on that if you actually made it on the first try. So let me try to fuck this up, because I need to show you the last backup strat. It's really, it's not that rare that you don't get the last part because you're losing too much height, because the frame rate isn't high enough. So I need to show it to you. It's really important. And I hope if I can't give you a right sense of where the holes are, I at least hope that I can give you a sense of how hard this is. Like, I've done some seriously fucked up things in games to speedrun them, but this is by far the most fucked up thing I've ever done in any run. And this part here is in particular the most fucked up thing. Okay, so let me try not to get it this time. You can see you can also try to save it with a skywalk, but it never worked for me so far. Just trying to land on these rocks here, because then I can show you the backup strat. Come on. But it's really hard to land on the rocks and not fall down. Okay, I never got the save, but I got it for a second there before I jumped back down. Almost. Come on. Come on. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're here or where I'm standing right now. Your goal is to not aim forward because you're gonna knock down. Shit. Your goal is to jump in here, but be careful. This thing is not there. It's there, but it's at the same time not there. It won't prevent you from falling down. Want to get as close to it as possible, and then aim for the wall here. You want to make a neutral. You want to get up as high as possible, and you want to make a neutral jump, and then just knock really, really carefully to the left, and immediately hold aiming downside. You want to land on this metal piece right next to me. I can't aim to it, because if I aim for it, I'm gonna fall down. And this just happened. Okay, now I can aim for it. You want to land on this part, and if as soon as you're standing on this part, you want to aim downside, because this will clip you to this part. You want to jump on this beam, and this is where the normal strat begins. So let me reload this checkpoint and try to get it this time. Like, seriously, it can take you several hours before you get the first sign of success here. But it's completely worth it. Like, you won't have a chance to get a good run without doing this. And to my left there's a hole, so I'm trying to avoid it by going right. And if I can't go any more right, I'm going to go to the left, get a little bit of height, or lose a little bit of height, and then go to the right. So it doesn't matter if you jumped on this part and then on top of this. As soon as you're here, you have two methods. You can either slowly walk on this beam, or if you're brave, just gonna jump. And then you can walk this way and then to the right and then jump on this part, or if you're brave, just jumping again and do a double jump here. Gonna jump on here, and the loading trigger, like, you can see it later on here. This area will be loaded then. The loading trigger is inside this plant. I know it sounds incredibly weird, and it is, but it's inside this plant, trust me. You have two ways of doing this. You can either aim backwards to see when you get it and slowly move backwards, or you can get as close as possible and then do a circular, a half circle jump. The half circle jump is really hard, but I'm still trying to get it. And you see, it just popped in. But you can just as well aim your camera down so you can see the plant. Place yourself in front of the plant and go back until you see it load in. As soon as you've done this, you want to roll off here. Get a checkpoint and some XP here. The XP is actually really important. Want to grab, and then grab again down here. And as soon as you let go, you want to jump. I sort of forgot to pause. This is why I didn't get the jump. If you don't get the jump, climb on this thing, and then jump over this this ramp, and you saved yourself going around in a half circle. Squeeze through this opening. Get down here. And give this guy a shot in the head. And give this guy a shot in the head. In the head, I said. Perfect. Want to go to this camp. And since we skipped the skill tutorial, we now need to enter the skill menu, and we need to enter a specific skill menu. Back out of it, go to fast travel, and then fast travel back to the beach. And this is everything we're gonna do for this part. I know Lara Skywalker is incredibly hard, and if you have problems getting it or having problems seeing my reference points, I can try to make a video with OBS, which will have a lower quality, but I can make screenshots. I can use Photoshop or another image manipulation program to circle you certain parts that are reference points. If you need this, just post in the comment section and I will get right on it. This is incredibly hard, and don't get discouraged. Just try it over and over and over again, and I promise you, at some point you will get it. And the moment you basically beat your personal best for coming farther in this out of bounds, you will be incredibly motivated to keep on going. And you should, because it's incredibly useful out of bounds. I hope I could provide enough explanation for now. Again, if I didn't, leave a comment and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And in the next part, we're going to take care of the research station, the research base, where we're going to do another fight skip. And well, thanks everyone for watching. And as always, I'm going to see you in the next part.